Hey everybody, and we're back post Trust Yourself Summit. Cheryl Fidelman here. I'm going to be sending you free content every single week. Remember, Fridays with Fidelman. I know today isn't Friday, but this is sort of my little intro to the content that I'm going to be sending you. And I took a little bit of a break after the summit because I had the privilege of speaking to a lot of you on the phone. There were some days where I had 7, 8, 9 phone calls with viewers back to back. All of you really sharing with me so deeply and generously about your lives, your marriages, your relationship with your children, your romantic partners, your job. Just thank you for being so generous with me, sharing your lives with me, and really opening your heart and connecting with me on a heart level. And the fuel for my life is deep heart connection. So thank you for providing me with my gasoline. So what I'm going to go over in this video is I'm going to tell you about the topics that I'm going to be putting out in the next few weeks. And then also I want to go over with you the results from the survey, which there was some information in there that I thought was really vital. And so for some of you that are new, we are, I just put out a 21 interview series called the Trust Yourself Summit, Transform Codependent Patterns and Express Your True Self in Any Relationship. And I interviewed psychoanalysts, psychobiologists, neuroscientists, epigeneticists, addiction specialists, and more, all talking about the topic of codependence. And now we are after the summit, and if you missed some or all of the summit, there is a link down below this video to purchase the summit. And yeah, and then the link to the Facebook page is also below this video. So please come and be an active member of the community. And so here's what I want to share with you. The results from the survey that really struck me was, I'm already getting a little bit moved by it because when I first read it, it really was really moving to me, heartbreaking, and vital to the work that I'm doing. So there were 9 questions on the survey. I won't go over all the questions, but one of the questions was, how many years has it been since you felt like you were living the truest version of yourself? I'll repeat that, and you can answer it in your mind if you want. How many years has it been since you felt like you were living the truest version of yourself? Sorry about that siren. I live 2 blocks from a firehouse. Just letting it pass. So 46% of you said, I have never lived the truest version of myself. 46% of you. Now that really struck me. And the reason why it's important to my work is because what I work in is the area of what's called attunement. So in my work, we practice attunement. And the reason why I think that a good portion of us, almost half of us, are not living the truest version of ourselves is because we were born with a kaleidoscope of ability to imagine and feel and connect and feel safe and protected. And then we had to reform ourselves to live inside of our parents' or our guardian's psychology, to survive inside of their world. And we lost the ability to attune to ourselves, to attune to the truest version of ourselves. We gained the ability, we've become professionals at attuning to what other people need, which is what we've studied for 21 days straight in the Trust Yourself Codependence Summit. We've become masters at setting ourselves aside. We've lost the ability and the muscle to attune to ourselves, and we are masters at attuning to others. And this is why I feel as if 46% of us have not lived as the truest version of ourselves. Now, it's a multiple choice question. So there's a percentage of people who it's been 5 years since they lived the truest version of themselves, 10 years, 20 years. 2% of the people said, I have always been living the truest version of myself, which is amazing. Great for those 2%. What else are you going to do with your life other than live the truest version of yourself and experience the infinite possibility of the unique piece of art that you are? Good for you. Congratulations. Amazing. Now, the other 98% of us who are not living the truest version of yourselves, I just want to tell a little bit of my childhood, which I don't want to repeat myself, so I might have said this during the summit. When I was a child, I was raised by a paranoid. My mother was deeply, deeply paranoid. And my father left when I was 6. He sort of, up until that time, handled her psychosis. But he had to leave because she almost killed him. So by the age of 6, my brother was a teenager, and we were handling my mom's world, which was an alternate reality. And I really had to keenly attune to her world in order to protect myself. Because if I wasn't inside of her reality, understanding the offbeat equations that she was putting together inside of connecting with other people and living in the world, if I didn't get it, then danger would come. So I set aside all that was really important to me in my experience, all of my own feelings and sensations, and there was nobody attuning to my reality. And in my over 10 years of coaching and in the many conversations that I've had with some of your viewers in the last couple of weeks, there's been similar experiences where your reality just didn't matter as a kid. I mean, that's a simple way to put it. So it's like we're just doing what we're programmed to do. We couldn't live the truest version of ourselves as children, and so we're not living the truest version of ourselves as adults. And the person that we are living is that person that is attuned to and fits into somebody else's world in order to assure our own survival and safety. Now, in my work, we develop the muscle that we couldn't develop as kids, which is attuning to ourself and standing for our own reality and our own feelings. And our reality is distinct from somebody else's reality. That enmeshment, that codependence that we learned as kids, we will pull it apart and experience our own reality independent of other people's realities. And that is where we live the truest version of ourselves. The other thing that I wanted to share with you is the topics that I'm going to be covering in the next few weeks. Oh, I said the link, right? There's a link to purchase the summit at the bottom. There's a Facebook link. Oh, and also we're having a free webinar on Friday. Remember I said Fridays with Fidelman. Okay, so email me, Cheryl at fidelmanconsulting.com if you want to be inside of the webinar, the Zoom webinar on Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you can't be there, don't worry. It will be recorded and will be posted on the Facebook group. We will have attunement exercises. I'll be doing some coaching, getting some questions answered, and just another opportunity for us to deepen our connection as a community. And I'll also be sharing about my programs. I have slots left in my attunement programs for the rest of the year, which is super exciting. So what I'll be sending you in the next few weeks on Fridays with Fidelman is my first video that I'll send is on codependence and sex. Now, I topped off the Trust Yourself Summit. The 21st video was codependence and sex. And I was kind of an overview of my thoughts inside of that world and that topic. And I got so many emails from so many of you who really resonated with some of the things that I said there, because the way I look at it is there's some level of unsaid sacredness in the bedroom and it looks like it's one relationship, the bedroom and outside of the bedroom, when really it's two distinct relationships. And they can oftentimes dysfunctionally feed each other. You think that what's happening in the bedroom should be the level of connection that's happening outside of the bedroom, or vice versa. So there's a lot there. And I'm going to do sort of, a remix, if you will, of that video on the 21st day. I'll include that information and add more information. My next video will be what I call the Dead Parent Society. And so I have a section of my work that deals with what I think is an incredibly important rite of passage, which is when a parent passes. We talk about the grief. We talk about utilizing the loss, the physical loss of that parent, utilizing it for our own transformation, because there is a transformation possible in that relationship with that parent in the dying of them, and to utilize that to our advantage as those that are still on this side of the grass. And then I'm looking because I can't find my notes, but I remember that my third interview that I'm going to be putting out, which will be 3 or 4 weeks from now, is going to be called Living with Myself. Because as codependents, and I'm recovering codependent myself, it can be so much more obvious that we're living with other people. And when I say living, you may be living with one person or several people. You may be living by yourself, but you have coworkers, people that we exist with. It can be so easy for it to seem as if we are living with them more than we are living with ourselves. And our reality depends more on them than it does on ourselves. But I'm here to flip that and say, inside of this practice of attunement and attuning with ourselves, it becomes really real, like a piece of metal, real, that we are living with ourselves. And everything that is happening is a function of ourselves. We learn to tune into ourselves, how we're feeling, what we're sensing, what we're making things mean, where we feel unsafe, and how we will potentially, some of us, manipulate a situation and manipulate our own behavior in order to assure our safety, which is what we did as children, and we may not have to do that anymore. But we can't really tell what is a real threat or is a perceived threat. And so in the Living with Myself, I really take us through what it is to really live with ourselves. I go through some days and I because I practice attunement all day, every day, there's still things I'm attuning to where I'm like, I learned that when I was 5. I'm not sure that's ever going to change. I keep doing that same thing over and over again. But I notice it and I can objectify it and not have it depict what my action or reaction or behavior is going to be. I notice it before it controls me or motivates me. That's clear. So, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing your hearts with me. Please continue to tune in and build the community. Click on the Facebook link to be a part of the Facebook group. Buy the summit if you still want to watch it or you missed some of it. And free Zoom webinar Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's this Friday, Friday the 5th. And if you can't make it, it'll be recorded and posted on the Facebook group. What else? That's it. I love you. Oh, email me. I love you, and email me, Cheryl at fidelmanconsulting.com. And let's keep our hearts connected and tune in with each other while we tune in with ourselves, right? That's the trick, is tuning in with other people and not losing the attunement with ourselves at the same time. so you and I can exist at the same time and have our experiences exist at the same time. Nobody's negated, everybody's validated and protected. Love you all. Bye. Bye.